Dexter, I love you so much. So much. And I probably always will. I just don't like you anymore. I'm sorry. Before I go, he said, and paused. I may kiss her. It was remembered afterwards that when he bent down and touched her face, with his lips, he murmured some words. The child, who was nearest to him, told them afterwards, and told her grandchildren when she was a handsome old lady, that she heard him say, "A life you love." It's a weird phrase in English. In love, like it's a sea you drown in, or a town you live in. You don't get to be in anything else, in friendship, or in anger, or in hope. It's all you can be in is love. There has to be a moment at the beginning where you wonder whether you're in love with the person or in love with the feeling of love itself. If the moment doesn't pass, that's it, you're done. And if the moment does pass, it never goes that far. It stands in the distance, ready for whenever you want it back. Sometimes it's even there when you thought you were searching for something else, like an escape route or your lover's face. Aspasia had herself fallen into very good fortune. So good that at the age of 20 years, she'd probably used up the whole life's portion of good luck that Tyche had allotted her. To make good fortune last for herself and the child in her womb would be up to her. It hurts to love. It's like giving yourself to be flayed and knowing that at any moment the other person may just walk off with your skin. Got to have someone who loves your body, who doesn't define you but sees you, who loves what he sees, who you don't have to struggle to be good enough for. She puts her hands on either side of my face, and the room falls away. I have never gotten so lost in a kiss before, and then the space between us explodes. My heart keeps missing beats, and my hands cannot bring her close enough to me. I taste her and realize I have been starving. I have loved before, but it didn't feel like this. I have kissed before, but it didn't burn me alive. Maybe it lasts a minute, and maybe it's an hour. All I know is that kiss, and how soft her skin is when it brushes against mine, and that even if I did not know it until now, I have been waiting for this person forever. If I had a single flower for every time I think about you, I could walk forever in my garden. Love is when the other person's happiness is more important than your own. It was her chaos that made her beautiful. Give the ones you love wings to fly, roots to come back, and reasons to stay. Stains are even worse when you're the only one who can see them. We're not words, Henry. We're people. Words are how others define us, but we can define ourselves any way we choose. This is what time travel is. It's looking at a person and seeing them in the present and the past concurrently. And that mode of transport only worked with those one had known a significant time. He was both everything I could ever want and nothing I could ever have. Human existence is so fragile a thing and exposed to such dangers that I cannot love without trembling. The unqualified truth is that when I loved Estella with the love of a man, I loved her simply because I found her irresistible once for all. I knew to my sorrow, often and often, if not always, that I loved her against reason, against promise, against peace, against hope, against happiness, against all discouragement that could be. Once for all, I love her nonetheless because I knew it, and it had no more influence in restraining me than if I had devoutly believed her to be human perfection. Productiveness is your acceptance of morality, your recognition of the fact that you choose to live, that productive work is the process by which man's consciousness controls his existence, a constant process of acquiring knowledge and shaping matter to fit one's purpose, of translating an idea into physical form, of remaking the earth in the image of one's values, that all work is creative work if done by a thinking mind, and no work is creative if done by a blank who repeats in uncritical stupor a routine he has learned from others, that your work is yours to choose, and the choice is as wide as your mind, that nothing more is possible to you and nothing less is human, that to cheat your way into a job bigger than your mind can handle is to become a unquoted ape on borrowed motions and borrowed time. And to settle down into a job that requires less than your mind's full capacity is to cut your motor and sentence yourself to another kind of motion. Decay that your work is the process of achieving your values, and to lose your ambition for values is to lose your ambition to live. That your body is a machine, but your mind is its driver, and you must drive as far as your mind will take you. With achievement as the goal of your road, that the man who has no purpose is a machine that coasts downhill at the mercy of any boulder to crash in the first chance ditch. That the man who stifles his mind is a stalled machine slowly going to rust. That the man who lets a leader prescribe his course is a wreck being towed to the scrap heap. And the man who makes another man his goal is a hitchhiker no driver should ever pick up. That your work is the purpose of your life, and you must speed past any killer who assumes the right to stop you. That any value you might find outside your work, any other loyalty or love, can be only travelers you choose to share your journey, and must be travelers going on their own power in the same direction. It's not that we have to quit this life one day, it's how many things we have to quit all at once. Holding hands, hotel rooms, music, the physics of falling leaves, vanilla and jasmine poppies, smiling anthills, the color of the sky, coffee and cashmere literature, sparks and subway trains. If only one could leave this life slowly. Love children especially, for they too are sinless like the angels. They live to soften and purify our hearts and, as it were, to guide us. Love doesn't always come when you want it to. Sometimes it just happens, despite your will. Are you asking me to undress, Tris? A nervous laugh gurgles from my throat, only, partially double quotes. Anne, you drink a little too much, and you go home to a cold bed and think, that was fine. And your life is a long line of fine. I know I'm a bad bargain, but I'm begging you to have me anyway, because I want a chance to make you as happy as you make me. I want to build a life with you. He fought to steady his voice. Please come to me, Kat, because there's no surviving you. You don't have to love me back. You don't have to be mine. Just let me be yours. If loneliness was a choice, what was the other option? To settle for second best and try to be happy with that? And was that fair to the person you settled for? How could you love us being together? He asked me. We are nothing alike, and we are not meant for each other, and we drive each other crazy. You love that. How can you love that? So I told him I know that we're not meant for each other, that we drive each other crazy, and that we are so different, but that's us. We are not good together, but together we are bad for each other. I love us together this way, just like this, because even if it's no good, it's what we have. It's us. Does he treat you with respect at all times? That's the first question. The second question is, if he is the exact same person 20 years from now that he is today, would you still want to marry him? And finally, does he inspire to be a better person? You find someone you can answer yes to all three, then you found a good man. Jessica, for God's sake, he said, allow me to do at least one common courtesy for you. In spite of what women's lib teaches you, chivalry does not imply that women are powerless. On the contrary, chivalry is an admission of women's superiority, an acknowledgement of your power over us. This is the only form of servitude Vladescu ever practices, and I perform it gladly for you. You, in turn, are obligated to accept graciously.